Morning.
What's up, my brother?
How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. It is ridiculously hot and humid in the shop, so I'm in the apartment.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so how far is the shop?
So it's about 12 feet that way.
Beautiful. All right.
Yeah.
All right, just making sure we can get a tour.
Yeah. So the other reason I'm here instead of in the shop is the wireless gets real spotty in the shop. That we've got wireless in the office and the manager's apartment, and then it kind of gets out into the bench rooms, but is weak. So we can go and take a walk through there, but it I might drop out or end up with no video or no video quality, I should say.
Okay. All right. We'll take it as it comes.
Yeah.
So how you doing this morning?
I'm good. I'm good. It's hot and humid, working on drawings and emails and various client things that are hopefully leading towards jobs in the next couple of weeks. And using the hot day to do stuff that's not moving things around in the shop.
Right. Yeah, it's warm. Um,
Yeah.
so we're gonna start with the questions, and then we get into your journey.
Okay.
What word or phrase do you overuse?
Do I
Well,
overuse?
hold up. Tell us your name and where you are in your company.
I'm Bob Miller, Mass Woodworks, and I'm in Boston, Massachusetts.
All right,
And I say precision is my religion way too much.
there you go. What is your least favorite thing to do?
Uh, Least favorite thing to do, painting. Whether it's painting furniture, painting trim, painting just across the
Whatever.
board, painting.
Painting.
Yeah,
All right. What is your most favorite thing to do?
sharpening.
All right.
Yeah,
And do you sharpen chisels or all of your blades?
everything. Yeah, the machine tools I send out, so like my joiner knives and planer knives and stuff, I send those out. But all my hand tools, I sharpen myself and use oil stones because I am from the old world.
All right.
These kids with their water stones, I don't get it.
Um,
I'm gonna get some hate for that statement, but you know,
what is the one thing your spouse would change about you?
would make me take days off more frequently. Yeah,
What makes you tick?
work.
If you have to travel cross country on a motorcycle, who would it be with?
Someone that's really, really, really good with emergency medicine because I would crash after about 9 feet.
All right. Handcuffs or scarves?
Oh, good God, man.
It's the question.
Uh,
Choose one.
let's go with scarves.
Okay. What irks you the most?
That hurts me the most.
Irks.
Say
What
that again.
irks?
You're breaking.
What irks you the most?
Irks me. Irks me the most. Ah, okay. Let's
Excuse
see.
my southern accent.
Yeah, well, I should be able to understand the southern accent because I was a southerner.
Really, where?
I grew up in North Carolina. I come from a family that's been in the South forever, and I was an absolutely terrible southerner. I'm a way better New Englander than I ever was southerner. Way better.
All right,
I
good.
moved here.
We'll get into
Yeah.
that part. We'll get into that. What sound makes you happiest?
What style of what makes me happiest?
What sound makes you
Ah,
happiest?
that would be my 24-inch joiner.
Right. Um, what sound bothers you the most?
When someone turns on the bandsaw but doesn't wait for it to come up to speed before they start cutting.
And you have a tandem and it takes a little while.
It takes about 30 seconds to come up to speed.
Yeah,
I tell them to use use those 30 seconds to think about their life.
yeah, mine takes a little longer, but it's all good.
Yeah.
Um, what profession other than your own would you like to try?
Can I include the one that I used to be?
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
but you can include that, but that's not trying because you've done it.
okay. Well, then try it, paleontologist.
Why?
Because I love dinosaurs. Actually, that is a dinosaur footprint.
Okay.
Yeah. Eh,
Wow.
yeah, it's a Growlosaur footprint. They're found here in Massachusetts. But I was the kid that loved dinosaurs, and I took it way too far for a long time, and I would love to give it a try.
Okay. What would you want on your tombstone?
Nothing. I don't want a tombstone.
Okay. That's a popular answer.
Yeah?
Yeah. If if you were to go to a card game and a fight broke out, could break out, would your significant other be more likely to call the police and grab a gun?
She would get a step stool and choke somebody.
All right. So now we can start the conversation.
All right.
So we like to start from high school and
Mm-hmm.
work our way to how you got to Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay. I went to high school in the South, in North Carolina. It was terrible. It was too hot, too humid. Nobody does sarcasm. And high school was a long, dark period that I have largely forgotten. And it's long enough ago to where it's now kind of like a story somebody once told me. Yeah. And then I was always a kid that built stuff, building blocks, train sets when I was young. Then, teenager, building things in the garage, out in the backyard, cutting down trees and building stuff. So everybody thought that meant I was supposed to be an engineer, just like most of the rest of my family. And so I went to North Carolina State University and enrolled in engineering briefly. Took calculus 3 times, the same one 3 times. I passed it, I will have you know, on the third go, but a pass is a pass, damn it. Yeah. So for realizing very quickly that the engineering is not building things, it just isn't. It's designing and talking about building things and figuring out how other people can build things.
Yep.
I did a history degree because my family wouldn't let me out of college to go to trade school. They said, you're going to school. All right. So I did the history degree, and while I was doing the history degree, I had 2 jobs, and one of them was at a retail woodworking store. That was kind of like a woodcraft or a rockler, but a little more industrial. And one of our clients came in, and he had taken some continuing ed classes at the North Bennett Street School in Boston. And he said to me, "Hey, you're young, you like woodworking." I was 21 or 22 at the time. "You should look into this school." So I did. And it was great. So I threw away everything, moved to Boston, got a dump of an apartment across the street from the school, enrolled in the school, and haven't looked back.
You're not still in that apartment, right?
No, I'm in a much different apartment now. Yeah. I probably couldn't afford that apartment anymore. It's in a neighborhood. 15 years ago, still had a couple of dumps that were cheap, but now it's probably triple the price and probably still a dump.
Right. All right. So you go to school in North Bennett for how many years?
That was a 2-year program.
2-year program. And after you got out of school, what did you do?
So I have an alter ego that has another job, and my alter ego is a 1760s Bostonian. I work as a historic tour guide. Uh, yeah, with the hat, the funny pants, the whole deal. And I got that because I had that background in history and teaching before North Bennett, and that was a good job for the weekends and in the summer. So straight out of North Bennett, I dove into the tourism world real hard because it was consistent money, and rented shop space in Medford and split a space with a friend who was a little more established than I was. He already had a bunch of machinery and things, and worked nights, early mornings, whenever I could get into the shop. Whenever I could get into the shop when I wasn't giving a tour, I would be over there, and did that for about 2.5 years. And then opened up the shop where I am now. I got in at the beginning of that, and for the last almost 9 years, have been living and working here, setting up the co-op shop with a small group of other people and then renting out to other tenants.
How big is that space?
It's 20 tenants and it's just under 10,000 square feet.
Wow. So when you started, what was there?
So when we bought the building, the LLC that bought the building bought it from a custom metalworking place, and it's an 1890s timber frame building that has the attached apartments. And the custom metalworking shop did all sorts of high-end metalworking, mostly around lighting, and that lighting was commercial, industrial, all sorts of stuff. Went from super fancy things like reproductions of period fixtures, but electrifying them for buildings like the Boston Public Library and that kind of stuff, all the way down to very industrial things. And it was a huge metal shop. So when we got the building, it was already a shop. Their machine room is now our machine room. It just had metalworking machines in it, and we replaced them with woodworking. There was about a year and a half of renovation of the building before we were able to start on the shop. As they moved everything out, we realized exactly how much of a dump the building was. Good bone, but all of the surfaces were shot.
Right. Yeah. Now that the stuff is out of the way, you can see what's actually in the building.
Yeah, you can see that there's actually a creek that flows through the building. That was interesting.
Okay. So let's talk about that process. When you found the building, how many people did you start it with?
So the way it works is we have a building owner who was the primary investor, who is also a woodworker, also North Bennett grad, but he is one of the second career type North Bennett people. There's a subset of the North Bennett grads that go to the school in their 50s after having a successful career in something else, and he was one of those. And so when he got out, he had his own small shop that was just his own in a garage behind his house. He knew he didn't want to be alone in the shop, so he started looking for space. And he brought myself and one other person on to be the first tenants. And our intention was it was going to be kind of 5 people total. And we started looking for a space that would suit that in terms of location, access, size, divisibility for bench spaces, machine rooms, whatnot. And we quickly realized that architecturally, that just wasn't going to work in Boston because there were no buildings that were independent but that size. And so renting a portion of a larger building gave no long-term security. So, right, especially here in Boston, because even if we condoized a portion of a larger building, we would eventually get zoned out of it with the way things had been going at the time, right? So we quickly realized we needed our own building on our own land that had no adjoining neighbors. So we started looking for a freestanding building, and that meant that our scale had to go up a little. So we looked at 5 or 6 different buildings fairly seriously, kind of 20 with the drive-by, and no, not interested. And then the one we found was about twice as big as we were aiming for in terms of square footage. But it was great. And we realized that we would have to scale the vision up a little, but that we thought we could do it.
Okay, so let me get a little more specific. Mm-hmm. When you say scale up a little, you meant scale up a
lot. Yeah. Well, it's actually adding more people was not the big increase, because with 5 people in the shop and 20 people in the shop, the amount of machinery actually doesn't go up that much.
Okay.
And part of that is because of who we have as tenants. We maintain a spectrum of types of woodworkers for tenants. Partly because David, our owner, he wants to support woodworking in various forms, whether that is full-time professional woodworkers, hobby woodworkers, people starting. So we've got, being where we are, we're right in Boston. We're in Charlestown. We've got people that space shop, but they would have a basement shop or a garage shop, but because they live in Boston, that's just not an option for them. So they rent a space with us, which is great for us because it brings in some good light, energy in the shop. They do work, great people to be around, but they're not going to build a big kitchen or something.
Right, and they're not there all the time.
Right. Yeah, and we seem to have shifts. There's a couple of people that are like, they'll come in, they'll work 7 to noon, and then there's a couple more people that'll roll in around 11 and work till 6, and then we've got a couple of people that work like 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. And it's just it's that when I say 20 people, everybody always immediately thinks 20 people, 9 to
At the
5
same
every
time,
day.
right?
Right. But a busy day for us, well, a busy day for us now in crazy Corona world is kind of 3 people. I don't think there's anyone over there right now. In the before times, a busy day for us was 5 people.
Okay. Yeah, and that's not a lot for a 10,000 square foot shop.
Right. Yeah, and it works out well so that we can have a number of people, a large space, good machinery, but we're able to divide that time very effectively by having these different shifts and different types of woodworkers.
Okay. So you all get this building, and it's 5 of you at the time you got the building?
So there were 3 that were really signed on hard, and then 3 more that were, yeah, I'll help out a little bit, call me when it's ready. And then we had another 2 or 3 that somewhere along that renovation process came in and said, yeah, this is great, sign up. What do I need to do now to have a space then?
Okay. So you all sign on a space, and did all these people come and help with the renovation, or did the guy would like call me when it's ready, stay out of the way?
So our very initial plan was that the renovation was going to be patch and fix a few things here and there and open in like 2 months. But as renovation projects go, you can see where this is going. You pull one thing off, we find 3 other things. So after about 2 months of, patch a small section of flooring, fix this window, we realized that we needed to do a much more intensive renovation. And fortunately, our neighbor is a fairly sizable contracting firm, so we worked with them to do the heavy lifting of the renovation and like pour new concrete sills around the building, bigger stuff. Yeah, it turned into a lot. We're very fortunate that the owner of the shop was in a position to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then so that stretched out year and a half, almost 2 years.
But you were working while you were doing this, right?
Some in the very beginning phase, the building, we went through a what is referred to by the people that were here at the time as the bombed out warehouse phase. And so we moved a little bit of machinery in, started working, and it was we were going to start working and do the light renovation. Once the heavy renovation came over, that became my job.
Okay.
Where I was dealing with various subs. I wasn't the contractor, I was the one that was there with the electrical sub saying we need power there and there and there, and the plumber, we got to do this and that. And then, work around the edges to make this construction process went smoothly.
Right.
Going in it, cleaning it up and that kind of thing.
Okay, yeah, because I know, with me having a fire, moving into a new shop, it's kind of hard to organize the shop and work on jobs.
Yes.
Because organizing the shop doesn't pay. I mean, in the long run, it does,
right,
but it doesn't pay the bill. So you have to figure out a balance to be able to do both.
Yeah, and so that's fortunately because of the unique situation that we're in, there was a little bit of money to be able to pay for the labor that I was putting in on the shop with that long-term investment of, we're getting paid back now for it. And also I had the tourism job. That was during the period where I was doing tours 4 days a week and, in the shop nights, weekends, and I would come to this shop.
Okay. So what kind of other woodworkers are you sharing the space with?
It runs the range. That we've got 4 or 5 people that are in a similar position to me, where they're just doing whatever job comes along, whatever job they're equipped to do, and the price is right for. So we get a smattering of freestanding furniture, cabinet jobs, built-in stuff, whatever.
And you do all of that?
Yeah, within reason, I'll do all of it. One of the great benefits of a shop like this is that we do have a lot of people around. So like just this morning, a friend contacted me for some carpentry work which I'll do a little light carpentry around the edges, but it's not something I'm really trained for, so it always ends up being not quite as good as I would want and takes a lot longer. So it's not. I contacted one of the other guys in the shop and, hey, you want to do this? Sure, put me in touch. Cool. And like when I get a bigger cabinet job that's going to have an install, I can hire somebody to help me handle all the plywood and sheets across the saw at the beginning, and then hire somebody to help me move it and install it, and then hire a different person to help me finish it.
Okay. All right. And you've been doing this for how many years?
We've been in this shop, so we've been open for almost 8, and then the renovation was a year and a half before that.
Okay. All right. So almost 10.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we bought the building in 11. Yeah. Actually, no, we bought the building in 11.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When you first purchased the building, where was social media? Were you on
Instagram didn't. I was not. I actually got on Facebook 3 days after it started. 3 days after it became available to the masses. I then jumped ship on it in 2008 because it was unfulfilling to me. And then I stayed off social media almost entirely until 16 or so when I joined Instagram.
Okay. All right. And how do you find that?
Instagram has been good. That it's less stressful than Facebook was. I can't even imagine how stressful Facebook is now, because that was a long time ago. I jumped ship in 9. I've been off Facebook for 11 years. And
you seem to be doing okay.
Yeah, things are okay. Things are okay. Occasionally, I'll go on the Insta diet just to hang out for business, post a little bit of what I'm doing, but just not look at it for a while. And it's okay. I try to avoid social media, and I do it begrudgingly. My wife says it's like a drunken warrior, idiot, savant thing. She says, you barely tolerate people in real life. How can you handle them on the internet? I don't know.
So it's kind of easy because all you're doing is sending a couple messages here and there.
And it's heavily filtered.
Yes. What have you all not been able to do to the space that you'd like to do? Is there anything that your current space is missing?
So there's a couple of things I would like to have, but they are a little bit bigger projects and not necessarily right for the group that we have created. One of them is a metal shop, like no welding, but metal press, surface grinder, that kind of thing. The main impetus for that is impediment to that is we don't have space for it. It's just that would be an expensive piece of space we couldn't pull a lot of money from, because most of my tenants either are not interested in it or not qualified to work it. They have no idea how to use a mill or a surface grinder, and we might know how to. If we have a somewhere, the people who want to use it pay more per month and get access, or is it you pay per use or whatever, that kind of thing. Other thing that we would like to have would be a CNC machine, a fairly large one, but again, space, energy, and administrative costs. Our fear with a CNC, because we are a little group shop, could be fairly easily monopolized, where one person could come in, they figure out a product that is really profitable on the CNC. They come in at 6 in the morning, throw a sheet on there, and it's over there running for 8 hours, while they are also on the planer. So it would be like having one print take up 2 spaces. We thought about trying to cure that, of where there's a monthly buy-in, or if you want to have access to the CNC, your rent is some small amount more per month, and then you pay per hour of runtime. Just make sure that it's a little fair for everybody. But again, space.
CNC's
we're at
big.
the point where, especially one that when we were swing around with the idea, we were thinking like a 4x8 bed, really dive into it. And, you know, a 4x8 bed requires a room that's like 8x18. And it's a big machine.
Yeah, that's a whole nother shop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, okay, in your, do you do shop drawings and drafting, or is someone in the building in your group doing that?
So everybody does it a little bit differently since we are all our own independent businesses and woodworkers all sharing the space. Some people do really nice hand drawings. Some people do the SketchUp thing. Some people do the Fusion, and some do the Rhino, and everything in between. Even in my work, depending on the job, depends on how I design it. So some jobs I'll do a really well formed, handcrafted traditional drawing because I was trained that way, and because some jobs are faster to do it that way. Sometimes I'll just do sketches. Sometimes like a 3D model of a sketch thing. And very occasional, I'll model work. Makes it
Yeah,
home. My
yeah, that was my question is with all of those people, do you ever have to step outside of the building to get anything done besides metalwork?
Yeah, occasionally. We have a good finishing space, but not a really good finishing space, and no one in the building is like an excellent finisher. There's a couple that are pretty good, but not an excellent one. So we'll send out finishing every now and again. Some people will, but largely no. You know, that we've got a good range of talent, a good range of skills that we can all lean on from each other. And we did establish a baseline price for hiring other tenants in the shop, so there would be no competition to the bottom. Where if you want to charge more than that, that's fine. But you know, we have that baseline so that we can't have someone that just comes in and hoovers up all the sheets work for $8 or something.
Right, right. What is your most challenging thing being in a shop like this?
Distraction, where there's other people. Now, I'm in a bit of a special position because I manage it, so I do have to be to a certain extent available to the tenants. But even when I'm not doing the managing thing and I'm working for myself, there's a lot of I'm working. I say 4 hours ago. Somebody that just comes into the shop at 11:30, they're starting their day. And you know, when you get into a group environment, it's very normal to make the rounds. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Which, if everybody gets in at the same time, that's totally cool.
You get it
In the
out of
first
the way.
15 minutes chatting, right? But you know, there's days where I'll start working at 8 or 9 or whatever, but every 15 minutes there's a new person coming in, and it ends up being like 4 hours of what are you working on? Oh, cool, guys.
All right. What is there any part of your journey in the last 10 years that you would say was a defining moment? Whether and this is positive, negative, is there any particular thing that sticks out?
All right, without going into too many details, about 4 years ago, I had set myself into a really independent sort of state and extricate myself from some complicated old family problems. And it was the most freeing thing I have ever done.
Okay.
And it was great. My business has been better. Everything about it is.
All right. Cool. Cool. And good for you.
Thank you. It was tough, but I'm a better person for it.
And sometimes those decisions are tough.
Mm-hmm.
And the other side is just as rewarding.
Yes, it is, if not more so.
Yeah. So let's take a tour. Let's see if we can get Wi-Fi going. Does anyone have any questions?
All right. All right, here we are, leaving the apartment. The metal workers left us some spiral stairs, which is very cool.
Yes, very cool. Good on space. Jayhawk, what's up? The Died, what's up?
Okay, so shop office.
Right.
And it is shop. It's the best commute I've ever had. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, so this is our bench room.
Okay.
There'll be no one here. So the way it works is everybody gets bench space. So, and that bench space is defined by, because this building is a timber frame, we've got a lot of nice big timbers that have divided the space naturally for us. And so things like this is one space. It's to do with that space, whatever the needs. And it comes with access to the finishing rooms, the spaces, all. And so my bench is down there. Some space through here. All right, this is where the wireless drop out. See if it stays sitting out here. So this is my bench. And I'm working on a small repair job that is not interesting at the moment. Yeah, there's my bench. With my pattern maker's vise on it.
Very nice.
Hammond. Everybody loves the Hammond.
Everybody loves the Hammond.
Everybody loves the Hammond. And then
now,
head through into the.
Did you get the attachment from Peter Harrison to make it cut or put a bigger blade on it?
I did. Yeah, I just did that a couple weeks ago.
And how you liking that?
Oh, it's great. Why didn't I do it years ago? So yeah,
I got one as well.
There it is.
Yep.
Yeah, there's finishing room in here. There, this is. Yeah, this section of the building is built like a bridge, so it has these 9-foot wide rooms in it that are long and narrow, and it's so the room below us, our machine room, can be nice and open. So spray booth and when I say timber frame, I mean big ass timber frame. So these timbers are 16 by 12.
Nice. Is it Southern Yellow Pine?
That's what left. They are.
Nielsen Tree Service. This is all for personal hobbyists? No, it's a combination of both.
It is. Yeah, we've got a couple hobbyists, we've got a couple full-time professionals, and a few people that are in between, where they are professionals first couple of days a week, and then they have another job a couple of days a week.
If someone asks, is your building smoking or non-smoking? I'm going to say it's non-smoking.
Yeah, non-smoking. Definitely non-smoking.
Yeah, and Jeff also said that you have a great voice for doing voiceover. I don't know.
That's the tour guide. That's the tour guide coming out.
All right, makes sense.
All right, let's head downstairs.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so my entrance off the apartment is on the second floor of the shop, and most of the bench space is on the second floor. So we've got stairwell with my shop art. When I was doing the renovation and finding all the machinery, when you buy an old saw, it comes with usually comes with a pile of funky dead blades. I still throw them away, so I did that.
Your screen. Because slow. Okay,
Did
slow
we just
down for a second.
Yeah.
The
machine room's the farthest away from the Wi-Fi.
Got it. Okay.
So we have a downstairs bench room, which I just stuffed into to get a little more wireless. This is some of our bigger bench spaces. People have bigger space. Let's see if we can get a little closer out into the room.
So the people with the bigger bench space, are they doing bigger work, bigger jobs? Or are they just paying for more space? Yeah, you're still frozen.
People that have bigger space just because they want a bigger space.
Right. Okay. Right. So you're are we on the floor where the machines are?
Yes. Yeah. So this is the first floor bench room. The machine room is through this door. See if I can. I'm going to turn off the Wi-Fi.
Okay.
We may have to restart this.
Okay, yeah, let me know because I'll need to make sure I save this. Okay, so if it goes any further, I'm gonna hit save so I can save it. Otherwise, it'll just disappear. Are you there? Okay, good. Yeah.
We're on data now. So this is the machine room.
All right.
And so mix of old and new machinery. Some of it rebuilt, some of it as I found it, some of it. So what do you want to know?
Let's give us a little machine tour. What
Okay.
did you rebuild?
Well, I'm right here next to my joiner. This is my 1942 Porter Model C. This one looked like it had been through the ringer when I got it. It was falling off. There were some things that were seriously broken with it that are deep inside, and I, of course, can't show you. But the big thing that everybody likes to see on this one is with a modern insert.
Nice.
So I get the old quality of 1942, but I also get the modern cutter head. So I rebuilt that.
Beautiful.
I rebuilt this, my 30-inch master disc
Wow.
sander. Yeah, this one had been on the bottom of the ocean. It was completely rusted out, no paint left on it. I had to do everything, paint, rings, and all of it. You should have heard the howl of laughter when I brought this into the shop. Everybody thought I was insane for getting a sander weighs 1,900 pounds. Like, what are you going to do with that? Like, I'm going to do everything with that. It's a heck of a machine. You know it's a high-quality machine when even the dust chute is cast iron.
Yep.
Yeah, so keeping with the milling, I actually didn't have to do much to this machine. It was in pretty good shape when I got it. It's a 24-inch Porter Model C. So we went up to wide. And then our planers. I've got a Boyce Crane Model 1000. That one I also rebuilt with a spiral insert cutter head. So it gives nice clean finishes on curly woods, whatever. This one, the Newman S248. Newman Machinery is down in North Carolina. No connection.
Yep, yeah, we got them coming on.
Yeah, that's great. They make really nice stuff and have done for a long time. They made this machine as a direct response to Powermatic making a 24-inch planer back in the 60s. But that 24-inch Powermatic planer was the biggest machine they had ever made. This is the smallest machine Newman has ever made. As a result, it's got a lot of industrial touches that other machine makers just don't have. Like, you might be able to see. You can't see it. So there's an inlaid strip of hardened steel under the head, so the never walks out.
Got it.
Right.
Nice.
Let's see. The one everybody wants to see, the Mighty Tanowitz.
Yep.
This is my favorite saw. This thing is fantastic. 1950s. This is the saw I use all the time. I've got a lot of tenants that are a little intimidated by it because it is so big and so loud and can carry up to a 20-inch blade.
Wow.
Right.
Now,
go ahead,
I'm sorry.
No, go.
You also had a saw I was trying to buy that you sold. That was the Oliver 260.
Yes, I had one of those for a while. I sold it and replaced it with Slim 10.
Got it. Okay. All right.
260 was a great saw. It just had some problems.
How do you find your machinery?
A couple of different ways. So our core group of a few machines, when we first started out, like I said a little earlier, we were planning on everything being done with the renovation in the course of like a couple of months. So at that point, I went to a machinery dealer, bought 3 or 4 machines from them to have to show up. As the renovation process dragged on, I was able to be a little bit more selective. And so I Craigslist, some through friends of friends, a couple of eBay sales, a couple of auctions, a couple of plant closings, that kind of thing. The Tanowitz here I got from a friend who just wanted to sell it. He knew I like machinery. He's like, hey, you interested in the saw? Yes. Very much yes.
All right. So how has life been with COVID?
Strange. Really strange. That so the work has dried up. So a lot of my clients have just kind of gone away, and I'm not getting the inquiries that I did this time last year. As far as my life goes, because I live at the shop, here in Massachusetts, when we did the non-essential business closure, we did close the shop. But since I live here, I was still in it. So I did my shelter in place in the shop. Unfortunately, was on board with me using the time to make some improvements to the shop that would have been either difficult to do with everybody in the building, the things that I just forget to do while doing that's ongoing. You know, things like, actually, these above me here, those are photographic backdrops for photographs. I'm sure we could set them up on ladders here in the machine room. You know, they were just leaning up against the corner of the room, which is no big deal, but, and I'd never got around to hanging them because I was always working on other stuff. But with no one in the building, I was able to finally get around to doing things like make the hooks to hang those, make a whole bunch of push sticks, organize stuff, clean things, installed some new lights in the finishing room, and just a bunch of little small jobs. So it was actually pretty good for me. But it's actually even a little weird because things are coming back to life, but not really, because no one's buying anything, no one's doing anything. And you know, right now it's what, almost 11 on a Friday. There should be 4 or 5 people in here, and I'm in here alone.
So okay, so during this period, what do you do for income?
So management for the shop, we're still collecting rent, and so as a result, I'm still paid to manage, to take care of it. I work for the North State School. That's been reduced because of course, so I've still been doing a little bit at the school, and selling working gauges, and I've been doing woodworking consulting, which has actually been really good, where just sign up for an hour, and they come to me with some question of, how do I tune up this machine? This kind of thing. How do I fix this? How do I make that? Whatever you got. I'm doing those. Selling the marking gauges, trying to line up work for the future.
Okay. All right. That's the interest that I've had, because I was fortunate enough to be deemed essential and to have jobs coming through. But now, you know, 2-3 months later, things are kind of leveling out and getting more calls than I was getting before. But you know, it's a little touch and go.
Mm-hmm. No, it definitely is. I'm being much more careful with what I do. Fortunately, I've been able to cut back on a lot of spending. Not being able to go to a restaurant helped a lot. Not being able to go to a bar has saved a lot of money.
Okay. All right.
No, we're just here in the house, here in the shop.
Yep. I think. Yeah, I think we covered it. Is there anything that I missed? Thank you for coming.
Nothing to know. No, not that I know of. This has been great.
I appreciate your time. And it's been good. And keep the post and the information coming.
That's the hope.
Yeah, Jeff asks, is this a good time to bring up the ghost? How old is that building?
So it's listed with the city as 1892, but it's actually 3 buildings that are subsumed together. And so when they built those 3 buildings, when they connected all 3 of the buildings, it's just a pile of 3 buildings. That was 1892. So the oldest part of the building is probably 1860s, and the newest part is 1892.
Got it. Okay.
And there's no ghosts here, except for things you bring.
Exactly. So thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And have a great day and good luck to you.
You too. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great day.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.